Turinen, the sky that screamed. Dustfall Base was never meant to be permanent. It was a temporary outpost, tents stretched over metal skeletons, consoles flickering with sand-clogged circuits, and crates stacked high with parts for machines that would never arrive. Kael had worked there 8 months, repairing everything from broken scanners to malfunctioning ration printers. He wasn't a soldier. He wasn't a hero. He was just a man who kept the lights on while the war passed overhead. He was carrying a metal canister of synth water across the camp when he heard it. A shriek from the clouds, a sound like the universe tearing. He looked up and saw 3 assault drones descending in a burning spiral, their wings glowing red from atmospheric drag, their cannons spinning to life. "Impact in 10 seconds!" shouted someone from the command tent. Kael froze. His mind screamed for his legs to move, but they had turned to stone. Dustfall Base erupted into chaos. Sirens wailed. Screens flashed evacuation orders. Soldiers scrambled for weapons. Kael clutched the water canister to his chest as the first drone streaked overhead, releasing a trail of fire that ignited a storage tent. The explosion hit him like a hammer, flinging him backward into the sand. He tasted blood. His ears rang. He blinked up through the swirling dust and saw a shadow. No, a shape, a silhouette too large to be human. Rhysha had arrived. Chakrur, 2, last of the Ashakai. To the people of Dustfall, the Ashakai were myths, blue giants spoken of in half-whispered stories, said to be extinct since the Red War. No one expected a living one to stride into a human outpost in the middle of a drone strike. Yet there she was. 15 feet tall, skin marked with glowing runes of cobalt light, hair whipping like a stream of electrical filaments, her eyes burned like twin storms. She was not running from the destruction. She ran toward it. When Kael finally drew breath, it came out as a terrified gasp. He had heard rumors that Ashakai were unstoppable killers, old warriors who could snap a man's spine with one hand, and she was heading straight for him. A steel support beam from a collapsing comms tower fell toward Kael. He lifted his arms in a hopeless, instinctive gesture. Thoom! Rhysha landed between him and the falling structure, catching the beam in both hands. Sand blasted outward in a shockwave. The beam bent under her grip but did not touch him. Kael stared up at her, face streaked with blood and dust, eyes wide. "What? Who are you?" he stammered. Rhysha did not answer immediately. Her gaze swept the battlefield, analyzing threat patterns, calculating survival odds. Her voice, when it came, vibrated like thunder traveling through stone. "Get behind me, human!" Now, Kael didn't argue. 3. The attack on Dustfall. 3 enemy drones swept in low, firing plasma bursts that tore up sand and canvas alike. The air shimmered with heat, tents folded under the barrage, panels shattered, supplies exploded. Rhysha released a roar that shook the dust from collapsed structures. She dropped the steel beam with a crash and leapt forward, her movements impossibly fast for someone her size. A drone locked onto her and fired a concentrated burst, but she twisted aside, grabbing the machine mid-flight. With a single wrench, she tore its chassis open, wires sparking wildly. The drone screamed as its power core ruptured. Kael crawled through the sand, gripping the water canister as if it were a lifeline. He ducked behind a torn supply crate. Rhysha hurled the broken drone into another, detonating them both in a shower of sparks. The last drone banked upward, attempting to escape. Rhysha extended an arm. Her markings flared. Lightning arced from her palm, raw, ancient, and alive. The drone dropped from the sky like a dead insect. For a moment, Kael forgot to breathe. Chakta Curie. 4. A warrior's burden. With the immediate threat gone, Rhysha turned her attention to Kael. He flinched when her shadow fell over him. "You are injured," she said. Kael shook his head, clutching the canister tighter. "It's not my blood. I'm fine. I thought we were all dead." Rhysha crouched, still towering over him. You would be, had I not intervened? Kael swallowed. What? Why? Why help a human outpost? A pulse of blue ran across her chest markings. Not anger, something heavier. My people were destroyed seeking peace, she said. Yours may yet survive if enough lives are spared. Then she stood. More machines will come. You must move. A fresh explosion rocked the horizon. Dustfall's perimeter defenses collapsed in a burst of red plasma. The sky darkened as additional drones descended, sleek models Kael had never seen. Rhysha sniffed the air. Hunter-class machines. They track heat signatures and neural pulses. That's bad, right? Kael said. She gave him a long, unreadable look. Yes. Parivri, beneath the falling tents. The camp was collapsing around them. Holographic screens flickered their last breaths. Tents fell inward, crushed by debris. Soldiers tried firing at the drones, but their weapons barely scratched the armored shells. Kael staggered after Rhysha, stumbling as the ground quaked. Wait! Slow down! I have short legs! Rhysha scooped him up with one arm as easily as if he were a kitten. Kael yelped, gripping the water canister with both hands. Warn me before you do that. I did not have time. She moved with impossible agility for her size, weaving through collapsing structures, shielding Kael from falling debris. Her skin sparked whenever plasma blasts glanced off her body, absorbing and dispersing the heat. Kael had never seen anything like it. Anyone else would have burned alive. They ducked into a tent reinforced with metal supports. Rhysha set him down and scanned the area. Kael exhaled shakily. I work on systems, not battles. I'm not supposed to be in the middle of this. Rhysha turned to him. What you suppose yourself to be means nothing human. You are alive. Act like it. He blinked. Thanks? She tilted her head as though unsure it was gratitude. Hurry, the secret of the Ashakai. Outside, the drones regrouped, circling above like metallic vultures. Kael looked up at Rhysha. Why are they targeting us? We're just an outpost. Because of me, she said simply. Kael stiffened. You? They seek the last of the Ashakai. They believe capturing me will grant them dominion over the storm energies my people controlled. Kael frowned. But you helped us. You saved me. Rhysha's markings dimmed. Not all humans desire conquest. Not all humans are cruel. Her gaze softened, almost imperceptibly. You held that water canister even while dying, she added. A warrior clings to survival. But you clung to something meant to help others. Kael blushed, stammered. I was taking water to the med tent. Exactly. Before he could reply, the tent roof was ripped away. A hunter drone dropped through the opening. Rhysha lunged in front of Kael, but the drone fired a grapple of electrified hooks that wrapped around her forearm, anchoring her to the ground. She snarled in pain. Kael acted without thinking. He grabbed a fallen metal rod and charged the drone, shouting like an idiot. He slammed the rod into the drone's side, disrupting its stabilizer. The drone swiveled toward him. Kael froze, and Rhysha tore herself free and crushed the machine with a single blow. She looked down at Kael, expression unreadable. You attacked a hunter drone, she said. Yeah, Kael panted. I guess I did. That was foolish, she said. He nodded. Yeah, she paused. But brave, Kael grinned despite the chaos. Durdu 1. 7 of them. Flight through the storm. They fled the 10 as more drones descended. Rhysha cleared a path, ripping through support poles and tossing aside wreckage. Explosions chased them across the sand. Kael tripped, but before he fell, Rhysha caught him by the back of his jacket and placed him back on his feet like a chess piece. I'm starting to think you're enjoying this, he shouted over the wind. I am protecting you, she replied. That's what I mean. She didn't answer. A superheated plasma blast scorched the ground inches from Kael's feet. The sand turned to glass. He squeaked. Rhysha scooped him up again. He didn't complain this time. Drones swarmed overhead like hungry beasts. Rhysha ran, faster than any vehicle at Dustfall, kicking up sand in a roaring trail behind her. Her muscles rippled like living machinery, her movements a blur of raw power. Kael clung to her shoulder, eyes watering from the wind. "Where are we going?" "To the storm line," she said. "They will not follow us there." "Why not?" "Because even machines fear death." Pta 8. The edge of oblivion. Dustfall's outer dunes were notorious. Constant lightning storms sparked by magnetic fields beneath the sand. Anyone who entered them was never seen again. As they approached the boundary, lightning danced along the horizon, blue, white, violent. Thunder cracked so close it rattled Kael's bones. He grabbed Rhysha's arm. "You can't go in there." "I can," she said calmly, "but I won't survive." Her markings brightened, glowing with an intensity that pushed back the swirling dust. "You will, Kael. I will shield you." He swallowed. "You promise?" A warrior does not make promises lightly. Behind them, drones descended, lasers charging. Rhysha pulled Kael close, wrapping one massive arm around him. "Hold your breath." "What?" She leapt. Anine, Stormheart. The world became lightning. Sound vanished, replaced by a numb, electrified silence. Kael squeezed his eyes shut as arcs of energy whipped past them, scorching the air. Rhysha's body glowed like a living generator. Every bolt that touched her skin flowed through her runes harmlessly. Kael felt warmth, impossibly gentle amid the chaos, radiating from her grip. They landed atop a rock outcrop where the lightning thinned slightly. Behind them, the drones hovered at the border, scanning but refusing to cross. Rhysha lowered Kael to the ground, her breathing heavy. You saved all of us," Kael said. She shook her head slowly. "No, I saved you. And any human who survives today survives because you fought beside me." Kael blinked. "I barely hit one drone." Rhysha's lips curved, a hint of a smile, rare and powerful. "In battle, intent matters as much as force." Lightning flashed behind her, illuminating her towering form like a goddess carved from sky fire. Kael found himself staring, not in fear, but in awe. X. What remains after the storm? They waited in the relative safety of the storm line until the drones retreated. Dustfall Base lay in ruins, but survivors were already emerging from collapsed shelters. Rescue beacons blinked weakly through the settling dust. Rhysha walked Kael back toward the edge of the storm. For the first time, she looked tired, shoulders lowered, breathing deep. Kael touched her hand. "Will you stay? We could use someone like you." She looked toward the horizon. "My presence brings danger. The machines will not stop hunting me. If I remain, more of your people will die." Kael stepped closer. "Then I'll go with you." She turned her storm-lit eyes upon him. "Why?" He hesitated. "Because you saved me. Because you fight with honor. Because I feel safer beside you than anywhere in the galaxy." He settled on a simpler truth. Because no one should face the whole universe alone. The wind carried the last of the dust between them. Rhysha placed her palm, bigger than his entire torso, gently against his chest. "You are brave, Kael," she said softly. "Braver than you know." She withdrew her hand. "But your world needs you more than I do." Kael's throat tightened. "Will I ever see you again?" Rhysha lifted her gaze to the far plains, where the storm line began to glow with a strange, otherworldly light. "Yes," she said, "when the storm calls for you, or when I have no place left to run." With that, she turned away. Kael watched as Rhysha, the last of the Ashakai, walked back into the swirling storms, her blue markings flickering like distant lightning until she vanished entirely. Ains. The legend begins. When the rescue teams reached Dustfall Base, they found Kael standing alone at the storm's edge, holding the dented metal water canister. They asked him how he survived. They asked what destroyed the drones. They asked why he was still alive when so many others were not. Kael looked toward the storm line, and he told them. He told them about the blue giantess who caught falling metal with her bare hands, who destroyed a squadron of hunter drones, who stood against machines built to kill entire cities, who saved him when no one else could. At first they doubted him, But then they saw the crushed drone parts, the lightning-scorched sand, the footprints, each one 3 times the size of a human boot, leading to the storm. And slowly they began to believe, in time, the story of Rhysha the Blue Guardian. Spread across the frontiers, some said she was a myth, some said she was a monster, some said she was humanity's last hope. Only Kael knew the truth. She was a warrior. She was a protector. And somewhere in the heart of the storm, she remained alive, waiting, watching, a promise unbroken.